Alex Durov took a sip from his half-full whiskey cup, observing the men in the bar. It wasn't an obsession for him to personally vet the people he did business with, he just wasn't willing to make mistakes and count his losses in shame. I cancel the appointment with SAR Technologies. Inform them I'll only do business with them in my next life, he signaled to his bodyguard, who nodded, knowing what to do. Alex's finger raised but quickly softened at the sight of the disgusting men harassing a lady while the bartender rushed over. Good evening, save your greeting for someone else. Are you blind and can't see what's happening over there? The bartender bowed and rushed to the scene. Alex, clacking his tongue, dropped some bills on the table and made his way out of the bar. His car was waiting, the side door already open, held by his bodyguard. Tell Zach to get me my power bike. You can go. His bodyguard picked up his phone to make the call. Alex wasn't ready to retire to bed yet. It won't take long, sir. It'll be here soon, Alex nodded, gesturing for him to leave. It wasn't every day he could be alone, getting fresh air without anyone sucking compliments up his throat. He leaned against the wall, eyes fixed on the road, waiting for his power bike to arrive. The city streets were more alive at night, but he was too lost in his thoughts to notice. Suddenly, the bar door jolted open, and a girl with wild curly hair rushed out, visibly upset. He watched as she collapsed onto the sidewalk with a bag strapped to her waist. She seemed familiar, but he couldn't pinpoint why. She abruptly stood up, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. Just then, his phone vibrated for the umpteenth time. He groaned, knowing who it was. He wished he could find a way to stop her constant calls. Hey Mom, how are you? He answered, trying to sound casual. Don't try to butter me up by asking how I am. I've been calling you for over an hour now, Alex, a good hour. It's not what it looks like, Mom. I was busy with work and had a meeting, he responded, trying to brush her off. She went silent for about 5 seconds. I was at your workplace earlier, and your sweet secretary told me you weren't in all day. I was just in the area and decided to say hi. Alex sighed softly, making a mental note to replace the secretary. He couldn't keep someone who didn't follow instructions. Mom, it's not, don't say anything more. Well, we're coming to visit you soon. Your father and I want to see you and your fiancée. Alex's heart stopped. He hadn't expected this. He had told his mother he found someone special, but it was all a ruse. He needed to give her something to hold on to, but he didn't expect her to plan this. Now he was trapped. But Mom, she's busy, no excuses. I won't hear a word of it. Just get ready to host me on my birthday, she giggled like a teenage girl. Mom, he started, but she had already cut the call, leaving Alex in a fix. His mom knew what she was doing by making him host her on such an important day. Just then Zach, clad in all black, arrived on Alex's power bike. Sir, Alex raised his hand, stopping him from talking. Zach stepped forward, handing over the keys. Without a word, Alex sped off. As he rode his bike, the wind whipped through his hair, pulling it back. All he wanted was to feel the air on every inch of his body, not minding if anyone was watching. It was just one of those days, and his mother's call was the icing on the cake. Where was he supposed to find a girl to pose as his fiancée? If he did nothing, he was sure she would pair him up with one of the numerous girls on her list. He smiled, recalling how she once visited him just to ask if he was gay. Rumors were rampant about him due to his abstinence from social activities. The only events he attended were those he couldn't avoid, which were rare. These avoided events were filled with girls who would readily offer themselves to him for anything. Now, he just needed to find a girl willing to follow his orders for a few weeks. Then, he could tell his mother in a sad voice that she must have scared the girl away, buying him some time before her next plan. The question that plagued him was how to find such a girl without drawing unwanted attention. The girl stood motionless, staring into the night, her cheeks streaked with drying tears. Her mind was a million miles away, unable to process the recent events. She felt like she was in a trance, her body numb and her soul crushed. She became aware of a figure watching her from across the street, a tall, imposing man staring at her with an intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. He started walking towards her, ignoring the risk of his bike being stolen. She thought he would pass by, but he stopped right in front of her. He didn't say a word, his eyes fixed on her. Despite her tear-streaked face and feisty eyes, there was something about her that drew him in. She was clearly troubled, with baggage not suited for him or his plan, yet he couldn't move away. Hey, are you okay? Alex finally broke the silence, watching as the lady hesitated, looking around. I'm not here to hurt you, she scoffed, avoiding his gaze. That's what they all say. They? Alex folded his arms, intrigued by her words. Heartbreakers. Guys who just want me for the night but leave after they realize that I'm not a. I know you aren't, Alex murmured. I saw you come out of the bar earlier, crying like your whole world crumbled. He continued, answering her questioning glance. The lady bit her lower lip, contemplating what to say. What do you want? How are you so sure that I want something? I'm just concerned. You've been outside for over 4 hours now, he said softly. My guess is you have nowhere to stay or you are waiting for someone. You don't know anything about me, she retorted. Judging from your looks and your bike, I can tell that you're some rich kid looking for the next girl to use. I'm sorry, but I suggest you go check somewhere else. Alex smiled, trying to salvage the situation. By the way, I'm Alex. He stretched out his hand for a handshake, his eyes crinkling at the corners. Dan, you are? The lady scoffed at his persistence. Mia, she finally answered. Alex's eyes lit up as if he had found something spectacular. Beautiful name for a beautiful girl, he said. Save it. I'm sure that's what you tell every other girl out there. It's not going to work on me, Mia rolled her eyes, trying to sound dismissive. I have a deal for you, Alex said, watching as she narrowed her eyes at him. What deal are you talking about? She asked, arms crossed. I can get you your dream job. Mia, and if you follow through, I'll give you a house, a beautiful oceanfront property, all yours, Alex offered. Mia snorted, rolling her eyes. Yeah, right, and I'm the Queen of England. I'm telling you the truth, Mia, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this work. Alex leaned in slightly, his eyes never leaving hers. Mia raised an eyebrow, wondering what Alex wanted. What's the catch? She asked, knowing that all that wouldn't just be served to her on a silver platter. I need a girl to act like my fiancée for a few weeks. After that, I'd give you the house, and your dream job can be arranged in a matter of minutes. Mia's eyes widened in disbelief. You want me to pretend to be your fiancé? You must be joking. Don't act too surprised. That's what I want, just a few weeks, no strings attached, and I'm willing to pay top dollar for it, Alex stated calmly. Mia shook her head, her mind racing with the implications. It was too good to be true and she knew it. She didn't even know who this man was, yet here she was, talking to him in the dead of night. Just then, 2 men strode out of the bar, talking to each other. Hey Alex, what are you doing here? One of the men asked, sharing a glance with his partner. Alex didn't even glance at them, his eyes were still locked on Mia. I'm having a conversation with my fiancée, he replied. The man snorted. Fiancée? You mean the girl who has been crying her eyes out all night? I know her well because she was working with me in the bar before she screwed up tonight. Mia's face turned bright red with embarrassment, but Alex smacked his lips. That's the one. And I'll have you tell anyone and everyone that you want to tell. Feel free. The 2 men exchanged a disbelieving look. No way, the man laughed loudly. She's no good, Alex. Trust us, we know her type. Alex raised an eyebrow, trying to control the urge to confront the guy. And why would you call my fiancé no good? Have you forgotten who you are addressing so casually? The man shrugged, dragging his partner away from the duo. With that, Alex turned back to Mia. So what do you say, Mia? Are you in? Mia woke up and groggily opened her eyes, her head pounding from the sunlight streaming through the window. She winced, groaning as she covered her eyes with her hand. She tried to remember what had happened the previous night, but her memories were very hazy. She recalled meeting Alex and how he made an outrageous proposal, and then she remembered saying yes. Her heart raced as she threw off the covers, swinging her legs over the side of the bed. She needed to get out of there fast. She stumbled to the bathroom, her head spinning, and turned on the shower. If it were another life, she would have loved to have a nice time in the jacuzzi, but that wasn't happening now. As she washed up, she tried to piece together the events of the previous night. She remembered Alex proposing to give her a place to stay for a while, then celebrating with a bottle of wine. Things got fuzzy after that. It wasn't like her to do such things, but Alex had a way around her. It still surprised her that she followed him to the hotel room without arguments. It must have been the wine that made her say things she didn't mean. Mia's face burned with shame as she quickly dressed in the same clothes from the night before. She was about to make a hasty exit when she suddenly found a pair of silver earrings on the floor. They weren't hers as they looked too expensive. "Come in," she absent-mindedly answered when there was a knock on the door. To her surprise, a team of hotel staff walked in, dressed elegantly, carrying trays of food and drinks. Behind them, Alex strolled in, looking every inch like good money in his tailored suit and tie. Her eyes widened as she took in the sight of the very man she wanted to avoid. Alex greeted her with a curt nod. "Good morning, Mia. I see you were about to make a quick exit." Mia's face flushed as she realized she had been caught. No, I was just, about to get some fresh air." Alex chuckled, allowing the hotel staff to leave before saying another word. "Save it, Mia. I know you were trying to bolt. Don't worry, I'm not here to hold you captive. Yet." Mia's eyes narrowed slightly, watching as Alex made his way toward her. "Yet, of course. Why don't we have breakfast?" Alex smiled, gesturing to the tray of food now on the dining table. The savory scent of the food struck her nose before her eyes even saw it. Her eyes widened at the sight of the spread before her. The hotel staff had brought in a feast: fluffy pancakes, crispy bacon, scrambled eggs, fresh fruit, and toast with a variety of jams and preserves. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, and Mia's stomach growled, causing Alex to raise his eyebrows. He gestured for her to dig in, as if she needed any invitation at the rate her stomach growled. She piled her plate high with pancakes, bacon, and eggs, and took a bite. She couldn't help but close her eyes, delighted at the taste. Alex couldn't take his gaze off her, not that she noticed. "Glad you're enjoying it," he smiled, pouring her a cup of coffee. "Why do you always smile?" Mia asked, still munching her breakfast. Alex grinned, taking a sip of his coffee for the first time. "Because it's the best way to get someone's attention." Mia kept eating, surprised by how honest he was. He didn't say anything after that, nor did he take a bite of the food. He just kept sipping his coffee, leaning in with a peculiar glint in his eye. Mia, tell me, was last night your first experience with wine?" What do you mean?" "I just had a little, and no, it wasn't my first time." "Are you sure?" Alex asked, his voice soft. Mia gasped softly, her face flushing with embarrassment as she remembered how she acted the previous night. It all came to her suddenly. No wonder her head was pounding when she woke up. "I just forget that happened." Her embarrassment turned to mortification as she saw the way Alex grinned again. It had been a while since she last had wine, years even. She was about to snap at him when he stopped, looking more serious than she had ever seen him. What's your dream job?" Mia felt full as soon as he asked the question. Anything she said while eating now wouldn't sit well in her stomach. Her dream job just made her insides churn in anger because she was so close to getting it all, but it wasn't just for her. "I wanted to be a travel photographer. The imagination of capturing the beauty of the world just to tell stories is so amazing." "Wanted?" Mia swallowed painfully as she felt water gather around her eyes. This wasn't the time to say all that. "Yes, I wanted." Alex sucked in a deep breath. Let's go get some clothes. I'm sure you don't want to be in these all the time. I had them dry cleaned, but we need a change." Mia was taken aback by his sudden change in topic, but she didn't protest as he pulled her out of the hotel room and into the bright sunlight. There was a car waiting with two men standing by. "Get in," Alex gestured to her. As she did, she wondered if all this wasn't a dream. If it was, she wanted to just enjoy it for a little while. Call it guilty pleasure or whatever, it was just too good to be true. Mia couldn't recognize where they were when the car stopped. Alex held her hand tightly as they got out of the car and into a trendy boutique. "Let's get you some clothes that scream fiancée of a wealthy businessman," he winked at her, trying to make her smile. Mia playfully rolled her eyes, finding it easy to just go with the flow around him. "You are enjoying this, aren't you?" she pouted, staring at him intensely. Alex scanned the racks. "My mother would see through the kind of person you are by the clothes you wear. You never told me why you're really doing this. You could just tell her the truth, or even hire a model." Handing her a couple of outfits, Alex replied, "My mother would find me some girl I wouldn't be able to understand, and models are too recognizable. But you're perfect for this." "But I'm just a stranger," Mia muttered as she took the clothes and went into the dressing room, accompanied by 3 assistants. She wasn't used to being dressed by others, so this felt very strange. Trying not to appear too unsophisticated, she went along with everything they did. She walked out in a stunning sapphire dress, her long hair left down for the first time. Alex was on a call when she emerged, and he seemed angry. It was the perfect time to retreat without being noticed, but their eyes met. His expression softened almost immediately, and it seemed like his anger vanished. "I knew you'd look good in this. I'm guessing your favorite color is blue," he stated, moving closer. Mia's eyes widened. "I never told you that. How did you know?" "Intuition," he said, tracing the pattern of the dress on her. "You look beautiful. No, you are beautiful." She couldn't bring herself to meet his gaze. Maybe she was just chickening out, but she had to remind herself that this was just an act. "You looked angry when you were on the call," she changed the subject, unable to let the moment continue. Alex went silent for a moment. "It's not really important," he finally said. She nodded, smiling, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. His words made her a bit sad, and it was better he told her that way. The assistants in the dressing room kept asking her opinion on a million things, but her mind was far away. His statement meant it wasn't for her ears to hear. What was she even thinking? It was best she knew her place quickly. The next few hours flew by as they went from one boutique to another. By the end of the day, Mia was ready to drop dead on her feet. Alex had made her get new shoes she wasn't used to wearing. Not that he heeded her complaints entirely, he still made her sit at a stylist's place for a whole new look. He wanted to take her to a spa, but the look she shot him was enough to tell him she had had enough for the day. Alex stayed silent about that but couldn't keep quiet about having lunch together at a restaurant. She wanted to object because they had the hotel, but she was a bit hungry too. It was only when they settled into their seats at a luxurious restaurant that Mia realized the place was empty except for them. Alex, don't tell me you booked the whole restaurant." Alex chuckled. "Consider it a small gesture for my fiancée." "Fake fiancée," Mia corrected. "You don't always calm down, do you?" "Okay, fake fiancée. Now close your eyes." Mia hesitated, thinking everything over for a few seconds, but Alex's puppy eyes persuaded her to shut her eyes. Alex carefully placed a small bag by her plate. "Go open your eyes." She gasped at the sight of plane tickets and hotel reservations. "Trips? You plan trips for us?" He grinned. "To Paris, Rome, and Santorini. I want us to have a proper engagement getaway. Once we're done with dinner with my mom, we'll leave a few days later." "But this is too much, Alex. This isn't something I can accept." He leaned in. "I want to make this engagement feel real, Mia, for both our sakes." Mia didn't know why he was doing all this for her. It was almost as if it wasn't acting anymore. If anyone was eavesdropping on them, they wouldn't understand that they weren't really dating. "Go on and check what's in your bag," Alex urged. Mia's curiosity was piqued as she picked up the bag. She unzipped it, her eyes widening in shock. Inside, nestled in a velvet bag, was the latest model of a renowned camera brand. "Oh my God, Alex," she breathed, her fingers trembling as she lifted the camera. "This is the X5 Pro. I've been dreaming of this camera for years." The camera was a work of art. Its smooth design and latest technology made it the ultimate tool for any photographer. It was almost like she was dreaming about everything she was seeing. Never had she imagined she would own this type of camera someday. "It's not like I deserve this, Alex, but I'm really grateful. Thank you so much for this." She looked up, smiling at Alex as tears threatened to fall from her eyes. She was genuinely grateful. The next few days passed swiftly, leaving Mia nervous and anxious at the same time. it still didn't seem real to her. She was lounging on the hotel bed with her new camera in hand, checking the pictures she had taken. She had once been in an academy for photography years ago before everything changed. Her phone began to vibrate and ring on the table. She hadn't gotten used to the ringtone. There was no need to check who was calling, there was only one person who could be calling her. Hey beautiful, Alex's voice was low and husky. I'm sorry to disturb you, but I need you to get ready. We have an event to attend in an hour. Mia's heart skipped a beat. What kind of event? It's an award night for young entrepreneurs. I'm one of the nominees this year. That's amazing, Alex. Congratulations, she said before he cut the call. It wasn't until the call ended that she realized she liked it when he called her beautiful. This was her first time dressing up for an event, and especially with him. That meant she had to look her very best if she was to impress Alex. He had brought about a lot of firsts for her. An hour later, Alex arrived at the hotel, and Mia was already waiting in the lobby, wearing a long red gown with a bare back and petals around the hem. Do you look breathtaking, Mia? Who doesn't want a lady in red? Alex's eyes devoured her as he approached. He offered his arm, leading her to the car. The ride to the event was a silent one, but there was a lot being said with their eyes. Alex couldn't believe that the girl sitting next to him was the same one who had said hurtful words to him just a few days ago. The clothes she wore looked extremely fitting on her body, like a model. Less than 30 minutes later, they arrived at the event venue. Mia realized there was a red carpet and quickly glanced at Alex, who smiled and motioned for her to wait. He opened the door for her, holding her hand as she got out. Mia felt like a celebrity at that moment, watching as people's eyes widened in shock at the sight of them. I guess it's not every day you come to places like this with a woman, Mia said. This is my first time bringing anyone at all, not even a date, Alex whispered into her ear. Most of these people are fellow entrepreneurs and investors. That group over there is from another tech industry, they've tried countless times to poach my talent. As they stopped to greet a group of people, Alex leaned in to whisper, this is the CEO of EdTech Corporation. He's been a good friend over the years. Mia smiled politely, her mind spinning with the magnitude of the event and the people she was surrounded by. It was a world she had never imagined being a part of, and yet, here she was, standing beside Alex, feeling more like his real fiancée than a pretend one. Alex, a newspaper with a glaring headline, Tech mogul Alex Durov's fiancée or just a fling? The article featured a photo of Alex and Mia at the event, their intimate moment captured and splashed across the front page. Alex frowned, his jaw tightening as he read the article. This is absurd. How did they even get this photo? James shook his head, clearly stressed. Paparazzi most likely. But the bigger issue is the impact on our reputation. Our client is very conservative and doesn't appreciate scandals like this. Alex sighed, running a hand through his hair. I'll handle it. Schedule a meeting with them and I'll do damage control. James nodded, then hesitated. And about Mia. Is she okay with all this? She's being dragged into a media storm. Alex's expression softened. I'll talk to her. Make sure she's all right. As James left, Alex's thoughts returned to Mia. He had to protect her from the fallout of this mess. He picked up his phone and dialed her number. Mia answered after a few rings, her voice cautious. Alex? Hey, it's me. Are you okay? Have you seen the news? There was a pause on the other end. Yeah, I saw it. It's overwhelming. I didn't expect this to blow up like it did. Alex's heart ached at the stress in her voice. Oh, I'm sorry, Mia. This is my fault. I'll fix it. I promise. Mia sighed. It's not your fault, Alex. We knew this might happen. I just didn't think it would be so intense. I'll do everything I can to make this right, Alex assured her. We need to meet and discuss how to handle this. Can you come to my office? Sure, I'll be there soon, Mia agreed. When Mia arrived at Alex's office, he could see the exhaustion in her eyes. She looked around the lavish space, then met his gaze with a mixture of determination and uncertainty. Okay, Alex, she said, taking a seat. What's the plan? Alex leaned forward, his expression earnest. First, we need to show a united front. The media loves to create drama, and we need to show them that we're solid, that this engagement is real. Mia nodded slowly. And how do we do that? We do a public appearance, Alex suggested. An interview or a press conference where we tell our side of the story. We explain our relationship and dispel any rumors. Mia looked thoughtful. That might work. But we need to be convincing. They can't see through us. Alex smiled. I've never doubted your acting skills, Mia. And we'll be genuine. We care about each other, and that's what will come across. She smiled back, a hint of confidence returning. Yeah, all right, let's do it. Over the next few days, Alex and Mia prepared for their public appearance. They rehearsed their story, ensuring it was consistent and believable. Despite the circumstances, they found themselves growing closer, their bond deepening as they navigated the media frenzy together. On the day of the press conference, they stood side by side, facing a barrage of cameras and questions. Alex held Mia's hand, his grip reassuring. We're here to set the record straight, Alex began, his voice steady. Our relationship is real and we're committed to each other. The rumors and speculations are just that, rumors. Mia nodded, her expression sincere. We're grateful for the support we've received, and we ask for privacy as we continue our journey together. The press conference went smoothly, their united front convincing many skeptics. As they left the stage, Alex squeezed Mia's hand, a silent thank you for her strength. Later, in the privacy of his office, Alex turned to Mia. Thank you, Mia, for standing by me through this. Mia smiled, her eyes warm. We're in this together, Alex. No matter what. As the days passed, the media storm began to die down. Alex's efforts to reassure their client proved successful and their business remained intact. Through it all, Alex and Mia's connection grew stronger, the line between pretend and reality becoming increasingly blurred. One evening as they sat together, Alex looked into Mia's eyes, his heart full. Mia, this started as a business arrangement, but I think we've both felt something more. I care about you deeply, and I want to explore what we have. Mia's eyes sparkled with emotion. I feel the same way, Alex. Let's see where this takes us. With that, they leaned in, sealing their new beginning with a kiss, ready to face whatever the future held together. James stood, his voice steady and authoritative. I agree with Alex. When it comes to taking calculated risks, we need to remember that we're an overall team. Our successes have outweighed our losses, and it's crucial to keep pushing forward with innovation and strategic expansion. The room buzzed with murmurs as the board members absorbed his words. Alex felt a wave of relief wash over him, grateful for James's support. Thank you, James, Alex said, nodding at him. Our company's strength lies in our ability to adapt and evolve. We need to allocate resources wisely and ensure that both our tech division and new market explorations are given the attention they deserve. The board members exchanged glances, some nodding in agreement while others remained skeptical. All right, one of the board members finally said. Let's put it to a vote. All in favor of Alex's proposal? A majority of hands went up, though a few remained firmly down. It was enough. Motion carried, Alex declared, feeling a sense of accomplishment. We'll move forward with the dual focus on our tech division and new markets. I'll oversee the creation of the teams and ensure that we approach this with the necessary diligence and expertise. The meeting concluded, and as the board members filed out, Alex's mind returned to Mia. He needed to check on her and ensure she was okay amidst the media frenzy. He headed back to his office, where Sam was waiting with an update. Sir, I managed to get in touch with the client, Sam reported. They were concerned about the negative publicity but are willing to discuss it further. Also, I checked up on Mia. She's doing all right, but she seemed a bit shaken by all the attention. Alex nodded, taking a deep breath. Good work, Sam. Schedule a meeting with the client as soon as possible. And get Mia on the phone. I need to talk to her. Sam handed Alex his phone, already dialing Mia's number. Alex waited, his heart pounding, until he heard her voice on the other end. Alex? Mia's voice was tentative, but there was a hint of relief. Hey Mia, Alex said softly. I just wanted to check on you. Are you all right? I'm fine, she replied, though there was a slight tremor in her voice. It's just a lot to take in. The media, the attention. It's overwhelming. I know, Alex said, his tone gentle. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. But I promise we'll get through it together. I'm handling the situation with our client, and I want to make sure you're okay. Mia sighed. I appreciate that, Alex. Really, I do. It's just, I didn't expect this to get so complicated. Neither did I, Alex admitted. But we'll figure it out. How about we meet up and talk about it? Maybe we can come up with a plan to handle the media and any other fallout. Mia agreed, and they arranged to meet later that evening. As Alex ended the call, he felt a renewed determination to protect Mia and ensure that their arrangement, despite its complications, would not cause her any more distress. That evening, Alex and Mia met at a quiet cafe, away from the prying eyes of the paparazzi. Mia looked a bit worn out, but her smile when she saw Alex was genuine. Hey, as she greeted him, taking a seat. Hey, Alex replied, sitting across from her. I wanted to talk about how we can manage this media frenzy. We need to present a united front and show that we're serious about our engagement. Mia nodded. I agree. But how do we do that without attracting more attention? I will be strategic about it, Alex explained. A few well-placed interviews, maybe a public appearance or two. We can control the narrative and show that we're not just a scandalous headline. Mia considered his words, then smiled. All right. Let's do it. Together. Alex felt a surge of affection for Mia. Despite the chaos, she was willing to stand by him and face whatever came their way. They spent the rest of the evening planning their approach, finding strength in each other as they navigated the challenges ahead. As they parted ways that night, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that their partnership, which had started as a mere business arrangement, was evolving into something deeper. And he was ready to see where it would lead them. Alex's eyes lit up as he listened to Mia's enthusiastic storytelling. Okay, so we're both on a flight to New York, he repeated, nodding along. And we end up sitting next to each other. That sounds believable. Mia grinned, her excitement contagious. Exactly. We struck up a conversation about our favorite books or something, and by the end of the flight, we were practically inseparable. Alex chuckled, feeling a warmth spread through him at her enthusiasm. All right, let's flesh this out a bit more. How about we were both reading the same book and started talking about it? Perfect. Mia agreed. It was some thriller novel, and we ended up debating the plot twists and turns. Alex leaned back, his eyes never leaving hers. This might actually work. It's simple yet memorable. And it's a story we can easily keep consistent. Mia nodded, pleased with their progress. So, what do we do about tomorrow? Do we need to rehearse or anything? Alex shook his head. Just be yourself. My mom will love you. She has a keen eye for people, and I trust her judgment. If she sees that we're comfortable with each other, that'll be enough. Mia felt a flutter of nervousness mixed with excitement. I hope you're right. I just want to make a good impression. You will, Alex assured her, reaching out to take her hand. And about the kiss? I don't regret it, Mia. It felt right in the moment. Mia's breath caught as she looked into his eyes. I didn't regret it either. It was just unexpected. They sat there in silence for a moment, the air between them charged with unspoken emotions. Finally, Alex stood up, giving her hand a gentle squeeze. I should let you get some rest. Tomorrow is going to be a big day. Mia nodded, walking him to the door. Good night, Alex. And thank you for everything. Good night, Mia, he replied, smiling warmly at her before stepping out into the hallway. As the door closed behind him, Mia leaned against it, her heart pounding. She couldn't deny the growing feelings she had for Alex, even if their relationship had started as a mere arrangement. Tomorrow would be a true test of their ability to pull off their story and navigate the complex emotions that were beginning to surface. The next day, Mia dressed carefully, choosing a sophisticated yet elegant outfit that she hoped would impress Alex's mother. She met Alex in the hotel lobby, and together they drove to his family home. "Ready?" Alex asked as they pulled up to the grand estate. "As ready as I'll ever be," Mia replied, taking a deep breath. They walked up to the front door, and Alex rang the bell. A moment later, the door swung open to reveal a stately woman with warm eyes and a welcoming smile. "Hi Alex, darling," she exclaimed, pulling him into a hug. "Hi, and this must be Mia. I've heard so much about you." Mia smiled, feeling her nerves ease slightly. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Durov." "Please, call me Elena," Alex's mother insisted, ushering them inside. Come in. We've been looking forward to meeting you." As they stepped into the elegantly decorated foyer, Mia took a deep breath, reminding herself of the story they had crafted. She and Alex exchanged a quick, reassuring glance before diving into their roles. Throughout the afternoon, they recounted their meeting on the plane, laughing and exchanging knowing looks as they filled in the details. Elena listened intently, her eyes twinkling with amusement. "You two make a lovely couple," she said, patting Mia's hand. "I'm so glad Alex has found someone who brings out the best in him." Mia blushed, feeling a genuine warmth in Elena's words. She couldn't help but glance at Alex, who was smiling back at her with an expression that made her heart skip a beat. As the evening wore on, Mia found herself feeling more at ease. Elena was gracious and kind, making her feel welcomed and appreciated. When they finally said their goodbyes, Mia felt a sense of accomplishment mixed with the budding realization that her feelings for Alex were becoming very real. In the car ride back to the hotel, Alex reached over and took her hand. "You did amazing today, Mia." "Thank you." Mia smiled, squeezing his hand. "It wasn't just an act, Alex. I really do care about you." Alex's eyes softened as he looked at her. "I care about you too, Mia. More than I ever expected to." They drove back in comfortable silence, both of them knowing that their arrangement had grown into something much more meaningful. The future was uncertain, but they were ready to face it together, one step at a time. As she studied Mia closely, a thoughtful expression on her face. Perhaps I'm mistaken," Grace said finally, her tone hinting at a lingering curiosity. Mia exhaled a silent sigh of relief, grateful that the moment had passed without further scrutiny. Throughout dinner, Mia found herself enchanted by the warmth of Alex's family. They regaled her with stories of Alex's childhood antics, shared their passions for art and travel, and genuinely seemed interested in getting to know her. Alex sat beside her, occasionally squeezing her hand under the table, a silent reassurance that she wasn't alone in this unfamiliar territory. After dinner, they moved to the sitting room where Alex's father, Mr. Durov, poured glasses of fine whiskey. Mia sipped hers delicately, feeling a sense of contentment settle over her. She exchanged smiles with Alex's mother, Grace, who seemed pleased with Mia's presence. "You know, Mia," Grace began, setting down her glass, "Alex hasn't brought someone home like this in a long time." Mia's heart skipped a beat at Grace's words. She glanced at Alex, who was watching his mother with a soft smile. "Mom," Alex started, his tone gentle yet firm, "Mia and we have something special." Grace's eyes softened as she looked between them. "I can see that," she admitted, a hint of motherly pride in her voice. "You two make a lovely couple." "Thank you, Grace," Alex replied sincerely, reaching for Mia's hand once more. "I'm glad you approve." Over the next hour, they discussed various topics, from Alex's work to Mia's passion for photography. Mia found herself feeling more at ease with each passing moment, realizing that Alex's family was genuinely supportive and welcoming. As the evening drew to a close, Mia stood with Alex on the grand porch overlooking the expansive garden. The stars twinkled overhead, casting a soft glow around them. "Thank you for tonight," Mia whispered, leaning against the railing beside him. Alex turned to her, his eyes reflecting the moonlight. "Thank you for being here," he replied, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You handled everything so well." Mia smiled, feeling a rush of affection for him. "Your family is wonderful," she admitted. "I can see where you get your kindness from." Alex chuckled softly, his gaze never leaving hers. "I'm glad you think so." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, the night air filled with a sense of peace and possibility. Mia felt a deepening connection with Alex, one that went beyond their initial arrangement. "I think I should head back to the hotel," Mia said reluctantly, realizing how much she wanted to stay longer. Alex nodded, reluctantly releasing her hand. "I'll walk you out." As they approached the car, Mia turned to Alex, her heart racing with unspoken emotions. "Hey Alex," she began softly, searching his eyes for understanding. "About us?" Alex gently placed a finger on her lips, silencing her words. "Let's take it one step at a time, Mia," he murmured, his voice tender yet hesitant. "But know that I want to see where this goes." Mia nodded, feeling a mixture of hope and uncertainty. She leaned forward, pressing a soft kiss to Alex's cheek before stepping into the waiting car. As they drove away, she glanced back at him standing on the porch, a faint smile on his lips. Back at the hotel, Mia lay awake in bed, replaying the events of the evening in her mind. She couldn't deny the growing feelings she had for Alex, nor the realization that their relationship had evolved into something deeper and more meaningful than she had anticipated. As sleep finally claimed her, Mia felt a sense of excitement and trepidation for the future. Whatever lay ahead, she knew that Alex had become an integral part of her life, and she was eager to see where their journey would take them next. Heart ached as she spoke, each word heavy with the weight of truth. Grace stared at Mia, her expression a mixture of disbelief and dawning realization. The revelation hung in the air, casting a pall over the serene garden scene. You were hired?" Grace finally managed to articulate, her voice barely above a whisper. She turned to Alex, her eyes searching his face for answers. Alex remained silent, his jaw clenched, struggling to meet his mother's gaze. "Yes," Mia affirmed softly, her eyes welling with tears despite her efforts to remain composed. Alex wanted to protect his reputation after the scandal broke. I agreed to help him." Grace's shoulders sagged as the pieces fell into place. "So, everything we've shared tonight, it was all part of this charade?" Mia nodded, feeling the weight of guilt settle over her. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Durov. I never meant to deceive anyone. Alex and I both kept it from you because we wanted tonight to be special for you." Grace shook her head slowly, processing the information. "I see," she murmured, her voice tinged with disappointment. "And Alex, is this true?" Alex hesitated, his gaze finally meeting his mother's. "Yes, Mom," he admitted reluctantly. I didn't want the scandal to overshadow your birthday, so I asked Mia to come with me." Grace turned away, her hands trembling slightly. The revelation seemed to weigh heavily on her, and Mia felt a pang of regret for causing her pain. "I think it's best if I leave," Mia said quietly, feeling like an intruder in their family moment. "Thank you for your hospitality." As Mia turned to go, Grace's voice stopped her. Wait," she said, her tone softer now. Mia turned back, uncertain of what to expect. I may not approve of how this started," Grace began slowly, her gaze steady on Mia, "but I can't deny what I've seen tonight. You genuinely care for Alex, and he cares for you too." Mia's eyes widened in surprise, hope flickering in her chest. You think so?" Grace nodded, a small smile touching her lips. Yes, Mia. Despite the circumstances, I can see that this isn't just about pretending anymore. Just promise me one thing." Mia held her breath, waiting for Grace's next words. "Promise me that from now on, you'll both be honest with each other," Grace said firmly. "No more secrets." Mia nodded earnestly, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. "I promise, Mrs. Durov." "Thank you." With a final nod, Mia turned and walked away, her heart heavy yet hopeful. She knew there was still much to navigate with Alex, but Grace's unexpected understanding gave her a glimmer of optimism for their future. As Mia left the Durov mansion behind, she couldn't shake the feeling that this chapter of her life was far from over. Whatever lay ahead, she was determined to face it with honesty and courage, hoping that someday, Alex and his family would fully accept her for who she was. Forever. His mind raced through all the moments they had shared, from the playful banter to the quiet intimacy they had discovered together. Each memory only intensified his longing to find Mia and make things right. As Alex paced the streets, his frustration and worry mounted. He couldn't understand why Mia had left without a word. Had he pushed her too far with his declaration? Did she feel overwhelmed by his family's reaction? Questions swirled in his mind, each one adding to his sense of urgency. Hours passed, yet Alex refused to give up. He retraced their steps, revisited places they had been together, and even asked strangers if they had seen her. But Mia remained elusive, leaving Alex with a sinking feeling in his chest. Eventually, as night turned into dawn, Alex found himself back at his mansion. The empty rooms echoed with the silence that mirrored his emotions. He felt lost without Mia, uncertain of how to move forward without her by his side. Inside, Alex's thoughts raced back to their last moments together. He replayed the scene in his mind, searching for clues, trying to understand where it had all gone wrong. Had he missed something? Should he have spoken up sooner, defended her more fiercely? As the sun rose, casting its soft light through the windows, Alex made a decision. He couldn't let Mia slip away like this. He had to find her to explain, to make amends. Without hesitation, he grabbed his phone and dialed her number, praying she would answer. The phone rang once, twice, and then a faint click. Mia? Alex's voice was urgent, filled with emotion. There was a pause, a hesitant breath on the other end. Then, finally, Mia spoke, her voice soft yet tinged with uncertainty. Alex. Relief flooded through him at the sound of her voice. Mia, where are you? Please, let me explain. There was another pause, the distance between them palpable even through the phone. I needed time to think, Mia admitted quietly. I'm sorry for leaving like that. Alex's heart sank at her words, but he understood. I get it, he said gently. But please, can we meet? There are things I need to say to you. After a moment's hesitation, Mia agreed to meet him at a quiet cafe downtown. They both knew they had a lot to talk about, wounds to mend, and decisions to make. But in that moment, as Alex rushed to meet her, hope flickered once again in his heart. He was determined to find a way back to Mia, to show her that their connection was worth fighting for. As Alex arrived at the cafe, he scanned the room anxiously. And then, through the crowd, he saw her, Mia, sitting at a corner table, her eyes meeting his with a mixture of apprehension and longing. Without hesitation, Alex crossed the room, his steps quickening with every stride. As he reached her, he paused, searching her face for any sign of forgiveness. Mia, he began, his voice filled with sincerity. I'm so sorry for everything. I never meant to. Mia held up a hand, stopping him gently. Alex, let's talk, she said softly. And in that moment, as they sat down together, their journey back to each other began, a journey of honesty, forgiveness, and the courage to confront their own vulnerabilities, Mia hadn't anticipated. She regarded Grace carefully, sensing the sincerity in her words despite their tumultuous history. The apology was unexpected yet welcomed, offering Mia a glimpse into the complexities of Grace's protective nature as a mother. I appreciate your honesty, Grace, Mia responded softly, her voice tinged with both surprise and cautious optimism. I understand that you were looking out for Alex's best interests. It wasn't easy for either of us. Grace nodded, her expression softening further. Thank you for understanding. I know my actions caused you pain, and for that, I'm truly sorry. There was a pause as Mia processed Grace's words, weighing them against her own lingering doubts and hurt. Despite everything, she couldn't deny the genuine remorse in Grace's demeanor. It was a stark contrast to their previous encounters filled with tension and accusation. Mia began, searching for the right words. I believe everyone acts out of love and concern in their own way. I know Alex means a lot to you, and you want what's best for him. Grace nodded again, a small smile tugging at the corners of her lips. He does mean the world to me. And I see now that you care about him deeply too. Mia nodded in return, her gaze softening as she considered Grace's perspective. Yes, I do. More than I thought possible. They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of their conversation hanging between them. Mia felt a shift in her perception of Grace, recognizing her not just as Alex's mother but as a person with her own fears and vulnerabilities. I'm not sure where things stand between Alex and me now, Mia admitted finally, her voice tinged with uncertainty. But I do know that I care about him deeply. And I want to find a way forward. Grace nodded understandingly. I hope you both can find that way forward, whatever it may be. Alex, he's stubborn, but he's also caring and passionate. He's always been that way. A faint smile touched Mia's lips at Grace's description of Alex, recognizing the truth in her words. Yes, he is. And I've come to appreciate those qualities about him. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Mia's manager, reminding her of her duties. Mia glanced at Grace, a sense of gratitude and newfound understanding lingering between them. Thank you for talking with me, Grace, Mia said sincerely, rising from her seat. I needed to hear what you had to say. Grace smiled warmly, her eyes reflecting a mix of relief and hope. Take care of yourself, Mia. And if you ever decide to give Alex another chance, know that I'll support you both. Mia nodded, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders as she headed back to work. She couldn't predict the future, but she knew that Grace's apology had opened a door to reconciliation, one that might pave the way for healing and understanding. As Mia resumed her duties, a sense of peace settled within her. She couldn't erase the past, but perhaps, with time and understanding, she and Alex could find their way back to each other, stronger and more resilient than before. Soft ambience enveloped them, casting a gentle glow on Grace's face, as she regarded Mia with a mix of compassion and respect. Mia, still processing the revelations and Grace's unexpected support, met her gaze with a tentative nod, feeling a shift in their dynamic. Thank you, Grace, Mia said quietly, her voice carrying a depth of gratitude. For believing in me and for looking into my past. Grace smiled warmly, her eyes reflecting a newfound understanding. You deserve to be heard, Mia. And I want to help make things right. Mia nodded again, a flicker of hope igniting within her despite the lingering uncertainties. I appreciate that more than you know. With a nod of farewell, Grace left the cafe, leaving Mia to contemplate the whirlwind of emotions and revelations that had unfolded during their conversation. As Mia resumed her shift, her thoughts drifted back to Alex, wondering how he was coping and whether Grace's words would reach him. Days turned into weeks, and Mia found herself immersed in her work and the ongoing efforts to reclaim her reputation. Grace's investigation yielded promising leads, and slowly, Mia began to feel a glimmer of optimism for the first time since everything had unraveled. One evening, as Mia was tidying up after closing, she received an unexpected visitor. Alex stood at the entrance, his expression a mix of apprehension and longing. Mia froze momentarily, her heart racing as she met his gaze. It was as if time had stood still, the weight of their unresolved feelings hanging heavy in the air. Alex, Mia finally managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. He stepped forward tentatively, his eyes never leaving hers. Mia, I've been looking for you. Mia took a steadying breath, unsure of what to say or how to react. The memories of their last encounter and Grace's revelations flooded her mind, mingling with her lingering doubts and hopes for the future. I didn't mean to disappear like that, Mia began, her voice wavering slightly. It's just, everything was so overwhelming. Alex nodded, his expression softening with understanding. No, Mia. I should have listened to you before about everything. They stood there, words unspoken yet hanging in the air between them. Mia felt a surge of emotions, longing, regret, hope, as she searched Alex's eyes for a sign of what was to come. I've been trying to make things right, Alex continued, his voice earnest. With my mother, with everything. Mia nodded slowly, her gaze unwavering. Grace told me what you've been doing, investigating, trying to help. Alex sighed, his shoulders sagging with the weight of their shared history. I needed to understand, to find the truth. Their eyes locked, a silent conversation passing between them. Mia saw the sincerity in Alex's gaze, the yearning for reconciliation and understanding. Despite everything, she couldn't deny the pull she still felt towards him, the connection that had sparked between them amidst the chaos. I don't know where we go from here, Alex, Mia admitted softly, her voice tinged with vulnerability. But I want to believe that we can find a way. Alex stepped closer, closing the distance between them until they were standing just inches apart. I want that too, Mia. More than anything. Their breaths mingled in the quiet space between them, the cafe empty and still around them. Mia felt a surge of courage, reaching out to gently touch Alex's hand, their fingers intertwining in a silent promise of understanding and forgiveness. As they stood there, facing each other in the dimly lit cafe, Mia knew that their journey was far from over. Yet, in that moment of shared vulnerability and hope, she felt a sense of peace knowing that they were finally on the path to healing, together. With a passion that spoke of longing and relief. Mia's heart raced as she melted into Alex's embrace, savoring the warmth of his touch and the sincerity in his kiss. It felt like a culmination of everything they had been through, the misunderstandings, the pain, and now, the tentative hope for a new beginning. As they pulled apart slightly, their foreheads touching, Mia breathed deeply, taking in the moment. I missed you too, she whispered, her voice barely audible but filled with unspoken emotions. Alex smiled, a weight lifted off his shoulders as he held Mia close, his fingers tracing gentle patterns on her back. I'm not letting you go again, he murmured, his words tinged with determination. Mia nodded, feeling the truth of his promise in the way he held her, in the depth of his gaze. I believe you, she replied softly, her eyes locked with his. They stood there for a moment longer, absorbing the quiet serenity of the park around them, the distant sounds of children playing, and the rustle of leaves in the breeze. It was a moment of peace, a sanctuary amidst the uncertainties that lay ahead. I've been thinking, Alex began, breaking the silence as he searched for the right words. Yeah, about us, about everything. Mia listened attentively, her heart fluttering with a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. She knew that rebuilding trust would take time, that their path forward wouldn't be without challenges. But in that moment, she was willing to embrace the possibilities, to face the future together with Alex. I want us to start anew, Alex continued, his voice steady and earnest. No more secrets, no more doubts. Just us figuring things out together. A smile tugged at Mia's lips, her eyes shining with hope. I want that too, she admitted, her voice tinged with vulnerability yet brimming with determination. They lingered in the park a little longer, talking and sharing their hopes and fears, slowly unraveling the knots that had bound them apart. With each word, each touch, they forged a path towards understanding and forgiveness, laying the groundwork for a future built on trust and love. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park, Alex took Mia's hand in his, intertwining their fingers as they walked towards a new beginning. It was a journey they would embark on together, one step at a time, knowing that their love had weathered the storm and emerged stronger on the other side. And as they disappeared into the gentle embrace of the evening, Mia felt a sense of peace settle over her heart. She had found her way back to Alex, and in his eyes, she saw a reflection of their shared hope and the promise of a love that was real and enduring.